Hello again. This is Mr. Bosma from Colonial Christian School in Homestead, Florida. We're continuing our talk about the mathematics about hot air blimps made out of garbage bags. So we had a garbage bag last time, and we measured the distance total across the garbage bag, and we discovered that it was 30 inches. We talked a little bit about circumference, which is the distance you would walk if you were walking around the circle. That's the total amount of space that a tire would travel if it's rotating, and the total amount of space that the bag takes up as it goes around the hot air that will be inside of the blimp. We also talked about the magic number pi. Pi is how far across times a constant, and it's equal to the amount of space that you would walk if you went around a circle. In other words, 2 times the distance from the center times pi is equal to the circumference. This time we want to talk about cylinders, because if you look at the bag, once again, the bottom part of the bag is just part of the problem. If we want to calculate the total amount of air that's inside of the bag and therefore figure out what its lift is, we're going to have to know about volume and 3D. Now, let me try to explain how this works. If you have a square and you stack squares on top of each other, or a rectangle and you stack rectangles on top of each other, or if you wish, you could make something out of triangles so you fit them together into a three-dimensional space. It's usually like adding up Legos. So if we have a circle like this cap, and we want to know a volume, you have to know what the height is. So we stack circle upon circle upon circle upon circle until you have the total height. So if we calculate the total height and we multiply by the area that a circle takes up, we'll get the volume. So let's talk about the area of a circle. Now you remember there was that magic number pi. Well, pi is wonderful because it'll tell you the area of the circle as well as how far it is to walk around it, called the circumference. So let me give you a new formula. Here's the new formula. The new formula is pi times the radius, that's how far to the center, squared. So let me write that up. Pi times the radius squared. Pi r squared. That's the amount of area inside of the circle. You'll remember that we measured the distance across as 30 inches. And we calculated from that what the size of the radius would be. And we ended up with a number between 9 and 10. It ends up being about 9.55. And that's inches. Now let's do the measurement. Let's take out the garbage bag again. Here's the garbage bag. And I have a tape measure here. It's a lot easier to do things in the metric system than it is to do it in the English system. But we have what we have. So if we measure this from the top down, I'm getting about 34 inches. So let's put that into the equation now. We know what pi is, and we know what the radius is, and we know pi r squared is equal to the area. And then if we stack one circle on top of another, and we multiply by the height, we'll get the total volume. of the entire bag. So here's the equation. Pi r squared, remember r is 9.55, and pi is 3.14. And we have to square it. So we have to square 9.55. That ends up being 9.55 times itself, all times 3.14. And we end up with 3,100 cubic inches inside of a garbage bag. That's it for today. Next time, we're going to take the calculations that we just figured for the volume of the garbage bag, and we're going to use ideal gas laws to calculate what the lift would be dependent upon the temperature created by the birthday candles. So be sure that you tune in.